I'm as ready as I'm going to get.
Thomas, which one is it?
So it's going to be the right arrow is to the photo.
Right, okay.
The left is to go back.
And you're going to take, when I start talking, you'll put my home screen up? Okay, great, perfect.
And when you just let me know.
The videos, okay. Perfect, thanks.
Okay, you ready? Yeah. Good morning. That wasn't very loud. Are we awake? Good morning. All right. Welcome to Steal This Idea. We've got a great session planned for you today. We've got 3 speakers. I'm just going to introduce them quickly, and then I'm going to let them take it away. So we all kind of steal ideas from each other, and we're all aware of that, and that's a good thing to do. We all produce the same kinds of things, the same kind of subjects, so it is only natural that we steal from each other. So first up today, we've got Dave Cook, and he is from Pinellas County Schools, WPDS TV 14, right here in Tampa Bay. He is also the EBS producer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneer preseason television network. So he's been a little busy with the Bucs this week and last week, and as the season gets going. Next, we've got Nick Gibson from the city of Garland, Texas. He's a video producer there. And rounding us out, we've got Rocha from the PCTA Public Cable Television Authority, serving the cities of Fountain Valley, Westminster, and Stanton, California. And I will hand it over to Dave.
Good morning, everybody. How are you all enjoying Tampa? You liking it? First time here? All right. This is first time people to Tampa Bay? All right, excellent. You guys got a great week of weather. So take advantage of it, go out and walk around. And one of the things, I travel around quite a bit, I always like to know a little bit about my neighborhood. So I thought we'd do a Did You Know segment here to get some interesting facts about our neighborhood and some of the surrounding areas of where you're staying for this week. So first off, did you know that a former president hit a golf ball from downtown Tampa over to Harbor Island, which is this little island over there, in 1985? Can anyone guess who that might be? Close. Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford. They did it when they opened up Harbor Island. Later that year, the godfather of soul, James Brown, had a free concert over there. In 1991, Queen Elizabeth, while visiting Tampa, parked her royal yacht Britannia out here in the Harbor Island area. Anybody guess? She was here to present a medal to the general of the Gulf War, who was a Tampa resident. Anybody guess who that could be? Schwarzkopf. Excellent, that's right. And then finally, if you want to go way back, 1824 Fort Brooke was established when Florida became a state, and that was built for the Seminole Wars and the Civil War, and it was so famous that they named a parking garage after it, the Fort Brooke Garage, right around the corner. So anyway, there's stories all around us, and there's also people that can tell those stories, and everybody can tell a story, and that's why you guys are here to steal that idea from me, because I've kind of do that a little bit over at Pinellas County Schools. So what's my idea? Is that there's gold in plain sight. At Channel 14, the school district, it's myself and 2 other people that work for the TV station. I was in commercial TV for 20 years before going over to the school district, and it's like, where's the staff of reporters? Where are all the photographers? Well, guess what? We don't have them in our government channels, so your experts, your reporters can be in plain sight. The people that are just with you every day working as employees. In Pinellas County, the school district is the largest employer in Pinellas County, and that's St. Petersburg, Clearwater, that whole area. So what we do is I ask them, I'm going to make you guys TV stars and you two some sensations. Always do that. Can you advance them? Oh, one way. Huh. Can we advance the slide? Because it's not working. The clicker's not working. Thomas, can you advance? There, no, one behind. The one before that. No, that's the last one. There you go. So, make your organization YouTube stars and sensations. So how do we do that? Well, we ask them. And why would they do that? Because it's a win-win-win for everybody. It's a win for employees in your organization because they get their word across from people. They have the concept, they're the content experts, and they're the ones who can deliver that message. And it's up to you to help them do that in plain language. I don't know about you guys, but I get caught up in this edu-speak all the time, and I'm sure that there's government, same thing happens in local governments, is that they have their own vernacular that, quite honestly, the general public doesn't understand. So it's kind of my job to help them break that down into everyday language. And it really does help them deliver their message. You can have them feel good about their job. Everyone wants a video. How many people come up to you on a daily basis? Hey, can you guys make a video on so-and-so in your departments? That happens to us all the time. And so you can turn that into, that's also content for you. And then they become your best advocates because then they are the ones showcasing your work with them and getting that word out. And then finally, you can do it too. We're going to see a couple of videos coming up right now that on our franchise show, Science Rocks, where I took a GoPro on vacation, did a story on goat's milk. So, Thomas, you going to show the first set of videos? This is our Science Rocks program. It's a STEM-related program, and it 3 videos that basically are collapsed down to a 5-minute video that is 3 different stories. So.
Spence, and we're here at the St. Petersburg Grand Prix to learn about the STEM of racing. In our district, we are focusing on STEM education, getting the kids involved in STEM careers. How is STEM involved in what you do every single day?
Well, I mean, obviously there's a lot of technology involved in racing, and you know, for us race car drivers, we rely a lot on the technology to do its thing and do it well.
My name's Dalton Kellett. I drive the number 67 K-Line Insulators USA and 1080 Education Indy Lights car, which goes for. Basically, what we're going to do here is we're going to take the settings that the engineers have come up for the springs and suspension, all that. Mechanics are going to use our reference pad and set the car up for the track here. The first thing you notice with these cars, we have wings, unlike most road cars. What that does is basically an inverted airfoil, so it produces downforce, not lift in a downward direction. So it's like an airplane flipped upside down. And that, and that basically presses the car down onto the ground, increases the normal force of the contact patch without adding weight, so you don't add inertia to the car. That lets you corner faster. So if you were to section kind of the middle of the side pod in a side view, you'd actually see a big airfoil. So the whole underside of the car is one big kind of Venturi tunnel shape, and as the air goes in that kind of swoopy section there, it accelerates under the car, it gets ejected under the wing, and that creates, as the air accelerates along that path, it creates suction, which then pulls the car down onto the ground.
Hi, welcome back to Science Rocks. I'm Jamie Hauck. I'm an instructional staff developer for Pinellas County Science, and we are at Ponce de Leon Elementary in the science lab with 4th graders, and guess what? We are exploring cubelets.
This is the first year that we've had cubelets at the school. So our 4th grade class is designing their robots using different cubelets, and they're learning about different types of energy that they're using through the cubelets.
Wow. Can you guys tell me a little bit about the robot that you have here, that you created?
What we did on the sides is we moved it to where so if it won't be able to knock down because the sides are protecting it. Because they're mostly small. So we might be able to put all the like these type of Legos on the sides to get nothing to stick on, and we might have to do it up here too. So like if it's tall, it won't hit it.
Welcome back to Science Rocks. I'm Dave Cook. You know, in our show, we are always looking at the relationship between science and nature, and today I think we found it with some goats. Just outside Rochester, Minnesota, Shanna McCain has a goat farm, which she has turned into a profitable business. Simple soaps for simple folks. And today, she shares the science of turning goat milk into soap.
And everybody says, why the goat's milk? Here's why. Fats, proteins, and vitamins in goat's milk that are great for your skin.
Yeah, talk a little bit about the process while we're in here too, okay?
Okay, so the goat's milk is an integral part of the soap making process. The basic definition of soap is fat plus lye. Now most soap makers will use water and lye, and like I explained earlier, I use the goat's milk and lye together. And my process is to milk them basically from 2 months after they've kidded, because I like to leave the babies on the mamas. And then once the babies are weaned, I milk the goats until basically the end of November.
And visitors to her farm can get a real hands-on experience.
And a lot of people don't understand the actual process of how to milk a goat, how the milk comes from the goat and goes to where it needs to be. And so touching the animals, being near the animals is really fun too.
You're done.
So again, wanted to show you in this is that, number one, I shot that last story all on a GoPro, got good audio, and it was during a family vacation. So, and kind of an interesting science project that I didn't know, and I thought it was kind of interesting. So, put together a little story for them. Plus, the Grand Prix, the other thing that I wanted to say about both of those stories is that, and Cublets even, is that the stories that we built for YouTube, we built 2 different versions. I built one for the TV show, for the on the TV station, because we all know how hard it is to fill the beast. I call it feed the beast, because you have to have so much local content on your TV station. But in addition to that, I cut those things down for YouTube. So the TV versions, somewhere between 6 to 8 minutes. The YouTube, 2 to 4 minutes. Those obviously were all cut down to kind of, you know, get them into a 4-minute video. So anyway, those are the things that, we can go ahead and move to the next slide. I wanted to just show, so that's the Science Rock show that we do with our STEM and science department. We do a literosity show with our English language arts. You're gonna see some examples of that. We do a career education show, which again is a partnership with local businesses. We have the one that you're gonna see is on Duke Energy, that we had students shadow that for several months. We do a digital learning technology show. Spectrum of the Arts, Performing and Visual Arts, Hablemos, a Spanish language. Anybody do a Spanish language show? Yeah, that's really challenging for someone who doesn't speak Spanish. So, but we do that, and we have our English language arts, our ESOL, which is English as a second language. People do that for us, and then we do community connections. So, Tommy, let's go ahead and see this small sampling of some of these shows.
Hi, I'm Holly Slaughter, and welcome to Literosity. Winnie the Pooh is an international classic, and at more than 40 elementary schools throughout Pinellas County, American Stage Company has been presenting this children's classic.
Juan, what'd you like about Winnie the Pooh?
They were dancing, I liked it, and the part say,
Hello, welcome back to Literosity, and I am DeMaurice Lee. In the past, we've looked at the transformation zone and all the great work that our teachers and administrators are doing to enhance and improve student achievement. In this particular episode of Literosity, we are back in the transformation zone, but we are at Gulfport Montessori Elementary. Here, we will take a look at Magic Hour. It's a new reading program where students spend an hour every single day just focusing in on things that improves their literacy and reading.
Welcome back to Literosity. I'm Chastity Downing, Middle School Language Arts Specialist. Our area is so rich in museums and hands-on experiences for our students. Our 5th and 8th grade students study Holocaust literature, and today we're here at the Holocaust Museum. Could you tell us a little bit about what folks can expect when they come visit the museum?
When you come and visit the museum is 3 floors. The first floor is a chronological overview of the events that led up to the Holocaust.
So this was the synagogue that my mother belonged to.
Recently, Sandy hosted a group of 8th grade students from Midtown Academy to the museum, and they heard her personal story of the Holocaust. What does it mean to have students come here and experience all the artifacts and the stories from the Holocaust?
It's a lesson about teaching people about respect and getting along.
So I know you've been reading some literature in your language arts class about the Holocaust Museum. Did you see some connections today about what you've learned and what you saw today?
Yes, the picture of the train right behind me, it just brought back a memory that we were reading inside of our class.
Tell us about this art piece here and the artist that made this.
This is a piece by Fong Pham, and she's a junior at Dixie Hollins High School, and it's a digital piece.
Hello, my name is Mariana Leslie, and welcome to PCS Students at Work You're Hired. Today, I'm at the Duke Energy Power Plant, the place that powers Pinellas County and helps power the entire state of Florida. Did you ever wonder about what jobs are necessary to run a power company? Well, some of our students recently found out.
This is really the halfway point through the Career Leadership Forum sponsored by Duke Energy. And today the students are going to do some one-on-one question and answer, learning more about different occupations within Duke Energy.
I want them to understand that power generation is a complicated matter and it's dangerous.
Well, online demonstration was definitely really cool and kept me interested the whole time, so I didn't know it was going to blow up next.
Join us next time on Community Connections, where we talk about stress and take some wonderful questions from students from Dunedin.
Wendy, do you have a question for Dr. Seville?
How can I help my friend who is being bullied feel better about herself?
First of all, I want you to tell me, of course, that your friend is safe, because bullying becomes not just psychological, but physical.
Hi, everybody. My name is Al Rochelle, and welcome to the PCS Journal, where we sit down and talk with folks within Pinellas County Schools about what they do. And we are talking about a very interesting program that we need you to help us with. Keosha Simmons joins us right now. Keosha, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're working within the school district. Tell me.
Hi, I'm Connie Colosi, Director of Media Text and Digital Learning, and I hope that you will join us for our next episode.
We're going to talk a little bit about Smart Learning Suite Online.
Estoy aquí con María en el área de mecánica automotriz. María, ¿qué me puedes decir sobre este programa?
All right, so obviously the audio is not good on that, so I'll just jump in. Sorry about that. So our next thing, Thomas, if you can go back to the slides there. That's our inside the classroom. Go to the video production tips if you can. So you saw that's kind of a sampling of some of the things that we do, with all the exception of Al Rochelle, the guy that did the interview in the studio. All those are educators. They have no TV experience whatsoever. The keys of what I try to do with them as far as keep the things on camera short. Try to, use, again, I talked about different lengths for different platforms. For either YouTube or TV stuff. ENG is the king. It's inevitable. You have to do some studio stuff, but we try to do every show that we do out in the field, because not only is it more visually compelling, but it also gets you out in the community, and it gives you a chance to share your content with businesses. And again, don't be afraid to use a GoPro, and you can use your vacation to tell stories. So anyway, we can take some questions after everyone else, so that kind of wraps me up for right now, so thank you very much.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Nick Gibson. I am with the City of Garland, which is just outside of Dallas, Texas. And we're going to start my presentation off with a short little video clip. And I'm just going to warn you, it's completely random. It's going to make no sense to you. So let's show it. It's a good setup, right? And now. It's so random you can't even see it.
Oh.
Oh, hey. That's not me.
That's random because that's mine.
Yeah. The number 2 PowerPoint. So how random you think it's going to be? Okay, yeah, here we go.
Here's a...
Awkward silence, yeah.
So Garland, tell us about what you do.
Yeah,
with-
so I'm a video producer for the city of Garland, yeah. Does that give me enough time there?
Stretch.
Yeah.
Stretch.
Not a lot I can do here.
Yeah. Oh, for me? Generally, I write all the scripts for them, go over with them the scripts, make sure that it's what they want to say, and make sure that it's content accurate, because I'm not an educator. I play one on TV, but I'm not. But we go through the scripts, we do the on-camera stuff, and I edit everything. So their involvement, again, I try to make it easy for them and just say, hey, listen, all I need is an hour or so of your time to go out and shoot the story, do a couple of quick on-camera things, and you're done. And give them the script, or I can feed them lines, and I always tell them is that, you don't have to be verbatim, put it in your own words. And then they get good I get good buy-in from them, because they also have special projects they want me to do, and I always tell them, it's like, well, if you want me to do this special project for you, you got to do a TV version, so. And it usually works. Yeah, I think
good to go, okay.
Video's ready.
Random. Here's a sneak peek at tonight's AFV. Hope you're ready to laugh.
Confused now, right? So, do you guys ever, oh, you already went to it, oh, great. Do you guys ever watch something happens to you, you hear something, and it inspires you? Just completely randomness? That happens to me all the time. And so I was actually watching this show with my kids, which they absolutely love. They call it The Funny Show, right? And so we're watching this, and I started thinking, like, I grew up watching this show too, and now I'm watching it with my kids. Like, this is a pretty great show. And so I started thinking, I was like, I'm gonna do a little bit of research on this. And you wouldn't believe it, but this is actually one of the most successful, longest running TV shows that we have. It's in its 31st season. It's had over 5 hosts, and it's literally the inventor of the viral video. Like, it was YouTube before YouTube even existed, right? And how do they get their content? They don't even pay for it. People send their content into them, right? So I started thinking, like, why is this show so successful? Which is a weird thing to think about a funny show, right? But I'm sitting there with my kids, and I'm like, why is this so successful? And I think it comes down to 3 little things, and now we can show that one. It's simple, smart, and most important, it's stupid, right? And why should we be thinking about this? There's plenty of times that we get requests for a video that, let me tell you, it should just be simple. It doesn't need to be an elaborate, drawn out, highly produced video. And it can definitely be smarter, right? And what's wrong with stupid every once in a while too? So I started thinking about this concept, and I was like, they have a winning formula here, because we're always trying to, find the next, viral video, right? And frustratingly, I will spend a lot of time on one video, try and make it look perfect, right? And then we'll just throw up some random video that will get way more views than the highly produced video. And it's frustrating, but there's a formula there. So I kind of want to show you what I came up with. Let's show this next one.
Plastic bags, I'm sure they're recyclable. I guess not. Know what to throw. That's gonna leave a mark.
That's ridiculous, right? It's this short 15-second little clip. And so basically what happened, we had our environmental waste department come to me, and they want to do a series of videos of what not to recycle. And they had a whole slew of ideas, and they were mostly terrible. And the night before, I'd had this vision, I guess, and this idea came to me. But here's the deal, I couldn't really say, hey, I had this idea where I throw a dodgeball at this guy's junk, right? You know? So what I did, I said, I had this idea, but I can't tell you about it. I just gotta shoot it and show it to you. And they gave me this strange look like, I don't know. I go, don't trust me, please. So it was so simple to do. It literally, I had one camera, that was a wide shot, one was a tight shot. And so I shot it, and that was the first video I did, and I showed it to them. And they loved it. And they loved it so much that they actually partnered with a national campaign called Know What to Throw. And what's funny is the Know What to Throw campaign actually had to go to their HR department and see if they could run those videos. So I always know I'm doing my job when my videos go to the HR department, right? So y'all wanna watch another one?
Yeah.
Old food and pizza boxes, I'm sure they're recyclable. Guess not.
Know what to throw.
Was that a banana man?
So that's just stupid, right? Like, but here's the thing, it follows that same rules. It's simple. I don't know about smart, but it's definitely stupid. And the fun thing about these is that you literally go out and shoot these things within an hour, and I'm done editing in 15 minutes, and it's up, you know? And the cool thing too is that they're so ridiculous that we get a lot of comments on YouTube like, this is the dumbest thing ever. But they're like, actually, the tops of pizza boxes are recyclable. And that's great, because it's getting people involved in the videos, you know, and that's all we could ever hope for. So basically, what we did was we started a little series where every month we put out a new video of what not to recycle. And let's show another one, why not?
Ropes and hoses? I guess they're recyclable. I guess not.
Know what to throw.
Sorry.
There's not much more I can say about it, right? So I got one more to show you guys, and yeah.
Sorry, little brother. This thing gotta go. Batteries, I'm sure they're recyclable.
Ah! I guess not. Know what to throw. I hate Elmo.
So anyways, next time you have a video project that comes in and you're just like, I don't know what to do, just try simple, smart. Why not stupid, you know? So that's what I got for you guys.
I don't know if it'll play the video, so if we can bring up my first slide. All right, steal this idea. This is exactly what we're trying to do, because that's what we all do. Whether we'd like to admit it or not, we do borrow heavily from one another. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And I like to be flattered as much as possible, so we can go right to our first slide. I took a quick informal poll just to find out if anybody outside of my California folks know who Huell Hauser is. And again, just a quick show of hands, is anybody familiar with Huell Hauser? All right. Exactly. The California folks all know him. He is pretty much a PBS legend. He started this program called California's Gold. He's not a California native, but he explored the Golden State, and with such vigor and just adoration for the state that he has become a legend in PBS community. The government programmers, everybody wants to emulate him, steal his idea. So it's a very simple premise where it's just him and his cameraman, and he breaks so many of the rules of television production where he'll turn his back to the camera just because he is so involved in engaging one-on-one with both locations and people within the state. So if we can play a few minutes of the video, please.
So while we've got another kind of awkward silence, did anybody have any questions for Nick about the recycling videos or stealing that idea for the recycling videos?
Does anybody want to steal those ideas for his recycling videos? Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
So here's the funny part about the first video. I was actually one of my coworkers, right? And the shot on there where I hit him, right? That was the very first take. But I convinced him that I need to get some more just in case, you know? And I was literally out there in the street throwing this dodgeball at him. We had neighbors coming out with their cell phones like, what are you guys doing? Like, it's city work, man. Don't worry about it. Yes.
Your tax dollars at work.
Did you warn him to, you know, dress appropriately, shall we say?
Did he have protection, is what you're asking?
You know, he opted out of that. He was just, yeah.
Wow.
I know. He's just that big of a, you know, man, I guess. I don't know. What's that? Yeah, that's it. There we go. Everyone, throw a ball at Pedro. Hey. So yeah, find someone dumb enough to do stuff like that with.
All right, we've got the video.
Oh.
Well, hello everybody. I'm Hugh Hauser, and here I am eating my salad. I've got lots of lettuce here. There's some.
It was queued up to the part where I'd like to show this. Yeah, Hugh Hauser produced half-hour programs, so usually it would be one half-hour program or two smaller segments. So this is the smaller segment that I was hoping to show.
Okay, here we are inside Stan's Donuts, and look right down here. Here is Stan himself, who's an old friend of mine. But Stan, officially introduce yourself to everybody.
Oh, I'm Stan Berman, proprietor of Stan's Donuts of Westwood, and I guess I'm the patron. I do everything around here, from wash the dishes to make the donuts.
And the money too.
Oh, yeah, that's true too. A little bit of that stuff.
Now, your donut shop has been here since
1963 is when we took over.
So you're one of the, you know, hardcore, historic, long-term tenants of Westwood Village. You've been here. This place is actually iconic.
We have been here, I don't know if we're the longest, but as the sole owner of something, but I think it's very close. And we have just had an unbelievable run.
You sure have. Now, I've known you a long time. We first met in the early 1980s.
Yes, when you first got here from wherever you came with that smile of yours. Definitely.
You haven't changed that much since then.
You have just put on a little, but that's about it.
All right, now one of the reasons I've put on a little, and you know, I'm trying to lose some of that, is that for almost 30 years now, whenever I'm in this part of town, I swing by this place. It's almost impossible to be in this part of town.
We smell up the whole area,
yeah.
but we have a nice smell. I mean, it's cinnamon and peanut butter, and the area really smells good around here.
You have a lot of customers who say that, don't they? I mean, they make a pilgrimage just to come by here.
I have them come from all over the country and basically all over the world. The Philippines, Israel. I have made friends here. I mean, it's phenomenal, from Nobel Prize winning doctors to the chancellors of the universities to the high profile business people. This area has just been phenomenal.
Everybody comes by Stan's Donuts. Now, let's take a look at what you've got, at why people come by Stan's Donuts, because you haven't done anything special because we're here today.
No, this is our assortment.
This is the layout that you have every morning when they're made fresh right in your little kitchen back there.
That's right.
Now, you've got how many different varieties of donuts here?
Well, somebody counted them and came up with like 72,
so as
but
you see,
it's difficult to really pinpoint it. Most shops consider a glazed donut as one and a chocolate.
All right, again, he's not in any hurry to tell his story. He is just enjoying his time with the donut proprietor. As much as you wanted to see the donuts, he took several minutes to even get to the glass case. We don't have people who tell stories like that because everyone tries to create this 1.5 minute story that can run on YouTube. So he comes from a throwback to an era where storytelling was a big portion of his program. Additional little side note, well, before we get to mine. Additional little side note with the Stan's Donuts, there's actually a Hollywood connection in that it was at, the donut shop was visible in a couple of scenes from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If anyone's seen that film, the Tarantino film, when Sharon Tate goes to the movie theater, the donut shop is right behind her in the movie theater, or before she goes in and out of theater. So that's, and it was obviously there back in '69 when the film takes place, so he's been in there since 1963, as he mentioned. So on to, and apparently we're just gonna go ahead and feature Mike at every session at every day. So the reason I'm featuring a little segment of Take a Hike Mike is because Mike kind of emulates what Huell Hauser did, and Huell Hauser did it for 13, 14 years up until he passed away. I mean, he literally announced he was retiring and then he passed away a few months later. Not that I expect Mike to be doing that, but at the same time, he's got several decades before that happens. But again, unintentionally, Mike, with his Take a Hike, and has everyone here actually seen Take a Hike Mike? Seen an episode here and there? They're fun, they're engaging because he takes the time to go out and do these activities out in the public. So if we can go ahead and just play that video.
Again, just can't wait to get on the road again. Oh, hey viewers, I'm on a 2-hour drive to Lanesboro, Minnesota for today's hike. That's right, I'm off to Eagle Bluff Environmental Learning Center. I'll be meeting up with Development Director Sarah Sturgis to learn all about the place that the Hastings Middle School students visit each and every year. Then, there's nothing to fear when becoming a pioneer. Things heat up as I attempt to start a fire. I also learned I might not cut it when it comes to sawing some logs. Luckily, the episode gets back on target as I aim to become an archery expert. And finally, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Take a Hike Mike. I'll have to be on the top of my game as I harness up and scale the high ropes course. I'm not bluffing when I tell you this might be my best episode yet. I'll see you there. Well, hello, Sarah Sturgis?
Yes. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hey, good. So we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, this is technically nowhere, I guess, but we're about 45 minutes south of Rochester, about 45 minutes west of Winona, and 45 minutes east of Austin.
Wow, so this is Eagle Bluff.
Yes, our technical name is Eagle Bluff Environmental Learning Center. So a learning center, from my perspective, is a combination of a school, a nature center, a camp, and a state park. So you can come out here and hike on your own. You can come here for a summer camp. You can also attend as a group, like Hastings Middle School does, as part of our school program. And they stay overnight for 3 days and take immersive classes in natural history, environmental science.
What do I do?
All right, so you can see there are similarities between Mike's program and California's Gold. It's just the engagement that he has with his guests. So there's just, again, the fact that outside of California hardly anyone even knows who Hugh Hauser was, but yet Mike up in Minnesota was emulating his show unintentionally. So if we can go to the next slide. And these are just going to be, again, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. These are general tips and ideas that I've used over the years of decades of production. I hate to say that, admit that. But inspiration comes from many sources. Local media. There can be a story, a feature story. We've actually gotten this where our producers will comb through the local press, not even the larger newspapers, but just a small regional press enterprise, a newspaper out there, where they do like a little blurb on a child who won an award. Well, they're only dedicating a couple of columns to that child. We can go out there and cover them in a longer form story, and that gives us content. Same thing with broadcast news, your local news, your network affiliates will go out and feature someone in a quick blurb. They won an award, they saved someone's life, they rescued a kid. There was recently, in a city that neighbors ours, unfortunately because they're not our city, we couldn't use the story, but it was on the news where this child who was handicapped in a wheelchair was donated the company's called Magic Wheelchair, and they build these custom, large-scale models of spaceships, Batmobile, and they donate it to handicapped children so they can dress up and cosplay and go to conventions in these specialized wheelchairs. And unfortunately for us, the story was in a neighboring city, so it really was outside of our jurisdiction, outside of our city. Had that been in our city, that would have been a great story for us to feature and put on the channel. But again, there's ideas come from everywhere. Social media. Everybody here is running a social media page, I'm assuming, Facebook, Instagram, what have you. And I'm sure among all the arguments and people hating on your programming, there's somebody out there who said, oh, my uncle won this award, or my uncle was a World War II veteran. That gives you ideas. That gives you a lead that you can go ahead and follow up with and cover that if you're interested in covering that type of story. So, and then same with historical societies, benevolent societies, the Red Hat Society. I'm sure they all have some organizations or charities that they donate to that can be covered that don't normally get the coverage, and they generally will love it when you come out there and tell them, I'm going to put you on Channel 3, I'm going to put you on your local channel, I'm going to put you on social media. So there is just a vast deposit of local stories that you can cover. The storyteller workshop ideas. I've gotten ideas or inspiration from storyteller workshops. Believe it was in San Diego, the dartboard method. I forget was that Les Rose? I think it was the Les Rose where they literally throw a dartboard at a map, go to that city, look through the phone book and find a name and then go find a story. And they've done a great job finding stories that people generally don't think about. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. It's just a matter of how dedicated your producers, your production team is to go find that story. And then one thing that we as an agency do all the time is we offer to judge for both our regional NATOA chapter as well as national. When we offer to judge for them, we bring in our producers and our editors to be the judges, the critiques, and hopefully emulate, copy, get inspired from all the programming that they see from across the country. So that's why we judge that, because it gives us an opportunity to see what other cities are doing for whatever type of programming. If we want to create a sports program, we will all volunteer to judge a sporting category So that way we can see what other agencies are doing across the country. So that is pretty much what I've got.
All right. So we've got plenty of time for questions here, and I'll kind of run around with the mic since we are streaming and they want to make sure that we're getting the questions on the stream. So does anybody have a question?
This one's for Nick. Nick, I've seen some of the, and everybody up there actually too, but I specifically have seen some of your creative approaches to other programs besides the trash thing. Do you have a process for, okay, rather than telling this so boring, how am I going to actually tell a funny or get the viewer's attention? Do you have a creative process for creating some of these shows?
Not really. Unfortunately, my brain just never stops. It never turns off. Like, you know, I could just be in the car and something will, again, randomly will inspire me, and I will literally like make a note in my phone. Like, I might not have a project in mind yet, but I will be like, that squirrel like jumped funny. Like, I'm just gonna write that down and save it. So I save all kinds of random ideas that I might never use, but it might connect with the project down the line. So just have an open mind, you know? That's all I can say.
Hi. Forgive me, this is more of a statement rather than a question, but Louis, you just brought up a great point regarding judging. Has anybody here judged before? Good. Okay, so practically everybody. If you didn't raise your hand, please volunteer to judge sometimes, whether it's a regional chapter, national chapter. We're always looking to have people judge content. And if you're a large organization, don't be afraid to judge, you know, a smaller channel in a smaller city. The things that Nick does at Garland, oh my God. Some of the stuff they do is just absolutely awesome. So I just want to reiterate that. Do not be afraid to judge. Please, we always need judges for video competitions. I know it's not a question, sorry, forgive me, but there you go.
I did not pay him either. So.
Does anybody else have a question? Yeah.
I'll just add to what Mike said. When you do judge, you get to steal the ideas of things that you get to judge, so.
Anyone else?
And not only judging, but attending the NATOA conference, you also get good ideas as well, because where's the Austin guys? Anyone here? I saw a presentation several years ago that you guys did, one of you did, where you actually borrowed the idea from Slow TV and did Slow TV, and so we're like, oh, that's a great idea, and we've been trying to implement that, but appreciate that idea.
Anyone else? As far away as possible, huh, Christian?
So the next question should come from the back of the room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So just real quick, as an inverse of that, do you have any ideas not to steal?
That's a good one.
Wow. No, I'm pretty much open to take anyone's.
Well, what I meant was, like, you know, things that maybe have you found that maybe you thought worked and didn't, or you thought, like, you took an idea and it just fell on its face that you thought might be something that would have worked, and how you maybe course corrected through that, or changed something, or modified something to make it better, or just something that, you know, just discussing something that might not have, tell me, don't steal this, right? Actually, something that you wouldn't steal, that you might have done.
I've got, we used to have a bigger staff and we engaged our students. Any school districts out here? Anybody representing school districts? Okay, so this doesn't really apply to you, but I would not recommend, unless you had a big infrastructure, working with students, because it's very rewarding on one end. You know, we used to do football games with 30 high school students producing the games from all aspects of it, but it was extremely labor intensive, so I would just be wary of that unless you have an infrastructure. And then the other side of that is what we found with some of the productions. There's some districts in Florida that use student productions from their high schools or middle schools and stuff like that, and I would not recommend that unless you have a direct input into some of their production techniques, because some of the stuff can be really good, but some of it can be really atrocious, and they just don't have the infrastructure at the schools to learn how to do TV production, quite honestly, and the audio is horrendous. And so that's would be my thing, is just if you get into the business of trying to do stuff with students in your school districts, it's a very labor intensive yet very rewarding operation. So
anybody else? Across the room.
Right at the back of the room. Yes, thank you.
Can I ask 2 questions? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. First question is to Dave. The story that you did at the racetrack, did you guys have to jump through a lot of hoops to get permission to do that kind of shoot, or did you just go there and say, hey, we want to do a science show about the connection to racing?
I contacted the PR team that was involved with the race, and probably about a month and a half, 2 months in, and contacted, gave them the idea of what we were going to do, and then they also connected me, that one guy that gave us a tour of his race car. You didn't see it in this part of the story, but he has an educational foundation. He's an engineer. He's really big into education. So you can find stories like that that will fit your niche, but you got to use their PR agency. Right. So that's what I would suggest with that, and it does take a little bit of setup.
Right, because we have a racetrack near us, a NASCAR track, and NASCAR is almost impossible to work with. So
yeah.
And my second question is to really all you guys. You kind of mentioned and hinted that you get ideas from the community. What kind of resources and what have you guys done to try to get people to send in ideas to do about the community, or have you done that?
Like I mentioned, it's social media.
Yeah.
Every time we post something, someone will comment, oh, my uncle did something along these lines. I have a cousin who is involved with this activity, this community, and that usually gets the ball rolling. I have a couple of really aggressive producers who are just jump on top of stuff and feed it, they'll go through it, they'll vet it before we even spend a second recording anything, if we get that far. So a lot of it is social media, just social media interaction. They want to know you're engaging with them. That is the best way, by reaching out to them, contacting them, letting them know, that was a good idea, can you tell me more about it?
I deal directly with our content experts. It's like you saw, our TV station is in the administration building, so that houses all the content experts, the supervisors, the associate superintendents, the coaches, everybody for the school district. So I just build relationships with them, and hey, you gotta, they're always a little tentative about doing something, so you gotta make sure they look good and make sure that it's a positive thing, because if not, you burn that bridge. But also, I always tell them, it's like, if you ever have anything in the community, I did something with the stem of skating over the summer at a roller skating, and it turned out terrific. And again, partnered, found out about the story from the content experts, one of the science coaches, and then partnered with the skating rink, and again, that goes on their website as well and their YouTube page, so you get double the amount of views, which is one of the ways we get judged, and if we get a budget next year. So.
Do you ever have stories, I mean, this has happened to me, where somebody wants you to do a story, you're assigned something or something, and you're not feeling it, you're not interested, and then you start doing it and, it works into something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we might all have done that.
Yeah.
We have to make the stories interesting. That's the biggest criteria. I mean, I keep thinking one of my producers was assigned a story that was requested by one of our council members about a charitable organization that her brother runs. Like, well, okay. Once she actually got out and started talking with the brother, turns out that the organization was almost exclusively online. They had very little social interaction, so there was nothing to shoot. So she went ahead and mulled it over and got really creative, and there was actually one event that just happened to occur that she went out with one of our shooters and they created something almost out of nothing. So it just depends on how aggressive you can be and how creative you can be, creating magic.
I would add to that is that I always try to humanize it. If the subject is boring, then you try to find something interesting about the person that's telling the story and try to humanize it. We all learned that people, it's about the people, it's not necessarily about the product.
Anybody else have questions?
In the back of the room. Oh, I love this.
There she goes.
It's okay, I need the exercise.
She's getting her
guys.
steps in, it's okay.
So I end up making a lot of PSAs, and one of the problems I encounter is that none of my coworkers, including me, is willing to actually be on camera. So they end up being a lot of graphics, and I'm at the point where the next one is just going to be sock puppets.
Sock puppets, yes.
Right?
Yes, Dennis.
That's it, there you go.
Send me a link.
Dennis, finally.
Dakota 2012, sock puppet. But how do you guys find actors for your projects, especially for the funny ones where someone needs to be kind of goofy,
For me, I honestly will see someone that's probably never done this before, and I'm like, listen, I have a project for you. And they're like, no, I've never done this before. I'm like, no, listen, you will be perfect. And once they see themselves on, they're like, okay, this wasn't that bad, But some people, they do not want to be on camera, and you have to move away from them. And honestly, we don't use any actors. Everyone is city employees or maybe a friend of a friend. But it's just, I think you develop, over the years of doing this, of seeing just raw talent, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I would say too, is that you have to look inside your organization. Like I said, all of my people are content experts, educators, teachers, and you're right. And I think that, again, you have to make them look good. If you make them look bad on TV, you'll never go back there. They'll say, no, never again, so.
Relatives, family. I've got a lot of my nieces and nephews historically throughout my PSAs just because they were available and there was little to acting involved. Just do this, do this. And it's just 1-2 seconds and it's nothing out of the ordinary. And I love that the next question's on the other side of the room again.
Also, food bribes work very well. Yeah. Take you out to lunch. Just let me shoot this video where I throw a ball at you.
I was going to say also, we take kind of another answer. Community theater has been really helpful for us. So I don't know if you have community theater. They always love being on camera, and they're good, usually.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just to add on to that, if you have access to any PIOs, public information officers, a lot of them don't mind being on camera, or they'll find you somebody. They're good at that kind of stuff.
Yes, that's very true. Anybody else? No? Okay, I'll ask a question. Through all of these, and when you're stealing and or borrowing ideas from other stations or other sources, how do you turn it around to make it fit your community or your school district, and kind of take somebody else's idea and make it your own?
Put our phone number on it. It really is just certain PSAs just translate well across the country. I mean, the recycling, every community recycles. It's just a matter of what tags are you going to use, because what was the tag on yours? The hashtag?
Know what to throw.
Know what to throw. Yeah. So if your community has a different hashtag or something, then obviously you'd recreate it using your own localized information. But it's a lot of this stuff just translates well across the board.
Yeah, that's the thing I think we've kind of done on several projects is you don't always have to recreate the wheel. Sometimes another city gets the message across perfect. So just ask, hey, do you mind if I literally steal your video and put our in tag on it? There's no sense of going through the hassle of recreating the whole thing just because you did it. We've done that with several of Pedro's videos where he does a lot of animation stuff, and we'll just leave the in tag open where any city can use it, a lot of like stormwater stuff like that.
Yeah, there have been times where we've been asked for a copy of a script of something we produced because the other agency wanted it or wanted something similar. So rather than them even rewriting the script, here's our original script, go ahead and customize it to your community, and they ran with it. There was a video produced by City of Beverly Hills that was a in-house training video for their council member, or their planning commission, on how to behave and how to use the equipment, turn on their microphones and such. And it was so well done. This was for Scan and Tow. It actually won Scan and Tow a training award. It was so well done that my general manager kept following up with Beverly Hills for 2 years to get that original from them, or at least a copy of the script, so we could create it for our own in-house training. So there are certain ideas that just cross through no matter what.
And I'd add to that too is that the videos that I showed today, it's like everybody has a museum. So if you have a museum that takes tours of kids, which they all do, you know, you can use that formula. And like I said, that's a small portion of it. The racetrack thing, you know, the STEM of racing, the STEM of roller skating. You know, these stories, you know, our literosity show. We do book fairs, you know, when we have a big Times Reading Festival where all these famous writers come, and we have, you know, sometimes students, sometimes, you know, teachers, do interviews with them. You know, you just have to kind of look in your community. And who remembers PM Magazine? Anybody remember the PM Magazine? Kind of use that format. I mean, just extended, you know, like I said, 6 to 8 minute features, and then cut that down to 2 to 4 minutes for social media. And, you know, just tell the story.
Does anybody else have a question? All right.
Back across the room again.
I should just cross the room at the beginning, right?
I just wanted to know on the recycling pieces, on the animation that you guys did you do that in-house or did you farm that out?
Actually, we got really lucky. Like I said, we partnered with that national campaign, and they already had that. So we literally just slapped that right on the end of the video, and it worked.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we do have an in-house animator, Pedro, who I got to throw the balls at. So. Yeah.
I like how you keep repeating that.
Say it again.
What software?
For animation.
Software.
Yeah. He uses After Effects. Pedro, why don't you stand up and tell him?
And back across the room.
Yeah.
So yes, I use After Effects. I also use some Cinema 4D and a lot of plugins to go with it. For the 2D animation, I do Adobe Animate, which was Flash, and yeah, pretty much that's what I use for my animation.
I'll add, we have a 2-person department other than me, so we buy a lot of stuff. We have Evato, and Video Hive. We run through After Effects, and it's just plug all the animations, all the opens that you saw on the shows that we do. That's all stuff that we bought and just plugged in through After Effects. So, you know, $20, you have an open, and supers and all that stuff. So that's how we do our animation.
Anyone else?
It's going to have to be on the other side of the room.
What did you say?
It's going to have to be on the other side of the room, the question.
Oh, okay. No, kidding. All right, seriously though, anybody else have a question? Thanks, Bob.
I was wondering, since you use your teachers as hosts, do you pre-screen them as far as, you know, which one's going to be good on camera and which one's not?
Not really.
I know teachers are natural performers, but...
Yeah, they are, and there's another video we just started this year. It's our first year of kindergarten, and I went to our kindergarten supervisor and said, hey, I want to do a series on a teacher doing kindergarten for the very first time, just fresh out of school. Can you find me somebody? And she found me this teacher, and she's been terrific. We've shot 3, because we started school in August. We started ridiculously early. But I'm going out there next week. We're taking her class, or she's taking her class to a pumpkin patch, and she's been terrific. And again, it's really don't pre-screen. We don't have the liberty of that. We just kind of say, okay, can you do this? And do a good interview with her. And she doesn't necessarily have to do any on-camera stuff. But we just trial and error, to be honest with you. And when you talk to them for 5 minutes, I think, you know, you've said, you kind of get a sense if they kind of have the TV look and the TV personality. And
Anyone
you help
else?
them with it too. That's the other thing. Just keeping things short because we don't have a teleprompter, we don't have cue cards or anything. It's just, 3-line intros, 15, 20, 15 at the most intros. Hi, I'm so-and-so, welcome to whatever. Here we are here, and then get to video immediately to the voiceover.
Anybody else? Anybody over there? Maybe. No, kidding. All right. Well, these guys will be around for the rest of the day. If you have any other questions that pop up, feel free to find them and ask and steal everybody's ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.